Your teenager's brain is being rewired right now, not by choice, by design. Social media companies employ thousands of engineers whose only job is to make their platforms as addictive as possible. And they're winning. Here's what's actually happening inside your child's mind. Childhood has fundamentally changed. School buses used to be loud with laughter and conversation. Now they're silent. Kids sit hunched over phones, scrolling alone even when surrounded by peers. They're physically together but emotionally isolated. This isn't an accident. It's the result of a massive psychological experiment happening in real time. And our children are the test subjects. Between ages 10 and 12, something critical happens in the developing brain. Dopamine receptors and reward pathways multiply rapidly. This is normal. It's supposed to help children form relationships outside their family unit, to value peer feedback and build community bonds. But social media hijacks this exact developmental window. It floods young brains with artificially high dopamine bursts, making children hypersensitive to the kinds of social rewards these platforms deliver. Likes, followers, comments. Each one triggers pleasure, then immediately crashes below baseline. This creates craving. The child doesn't feel satisfied. They feel compelled to check again and again. It's not weakness. It's neurochemistry being exploited for profit. The addiction mechanism. Here's what makes this so dangerous. Scientists call it desensitization. When the brain gets used to these high dopamine levels, it compensates by going into a dopamine deficit state just to maintain balance. The result? Real-world experiences stop feeling pleasurable. Spending time with family, riding bikes, having face-to-face conversations. These natural rewards that once brought joy now feel boring and empty. The child craves going back online because that's the only place their brain can still experience pleasure. A University of North Carolina study tracked 6th and 7th graders who frequently check social media. Over time, their brains became overly sensitive to digital rewards while becoming numb to real life. This is measurable brain change happening during the most vulnerable period of development. The willpower myth parents often think this is about self-control. It's not. The part of our brain responsible for impulse control, the prefrontal cortex, doesn't fully develop until age 25. Children are neurologically incapable of self-regulating against technology designed by adults to bypass their defenses. One scientist described it perfectly. A child's brain on social media is all gas with no brakes. They're always going to want more, and they lack the neural development to stop themselves. Worse, heavy social media use actually stunts prefrontal cortex development, creating less neural connection between the impulse control center and the reward center. The very act of using these platforms prevents the brain from developing the tools needed to resist them. The hidden costs. The average age of first smartphone correlates directly with mental health outcomes in young adulthood. Children who got smartphones between ages 8 and 10 showed significantly worse mental health between ages 18 and 25. The most dramatic difference? Suicidality. The older a child was when they received their first smartphone, the less likely they were to experience suicidal thoughts as young adults. We're not talking about minor mood changes. We're talking about life and death outcomes determined partly by when we hand a child access to these platforms. And the epidemic is real. Teen depression, anxiety, and loneliness have all spiked in direct correlation with smartphone and social media adoption. The alternative path, but here's what most people don't know. A 30-day digital detox can chemically reset the brain. Desensitization can be reversed. The brain returns to normal dopamine balance, and natural pleasures become pleasurable again. Families who've removed smartphones and social media report stronger relationships, deeper friendships, and children who are genuinely happier. Not because they're sheltered, but because their brains are developing normally. They make eye contact. They engage in real conversation. They experience genuine satisfaction from real-world activities. Teachers consistently report they can identify which students don't have smartphones just by observing their social skills and emotional presence. The technology isn't neutral. It was designed to capture attention and monetize it. Your child's brain is the product being sold. Understanding the mechanism is the first step. Protecting childhood might be the most important decision you make. Because on the other side of these devices is the life you actually want for them,